Hello, I'm Johnny Bevan, and I'm a stress and burnout coach, and I help people get motivated and actually get out of their hole, get out of feeling lost, and actually get direction back in their life. So, I want to tell you something to start with is I've literally just nearly finished recording this and then realized I didn't have my mic on. Okay, didn't have my mic on. So this is the second time, so it's going to be even bloody better. The reason I wanted to do this short video is because so many people have come to me, especially it's mainly men, pretty much all men. I'll get a lot of people coming to me saying this. And what you'll do is you'll think if you're feeling all of this, which we'll go through in a minute, that you're on your own, and you're not. I feel like it at times. Most people feel like it at times, especially when we're in transition stages. We're in transitions, we're changing jobs, retiring, whatever it is, or we just had enough of our job. It's common to feel lost, demotivated, be confused, feel like we're drifting, and just have no direction and just not have any energy to get anything done. This is normal. And I'm going to show you how to start moving yourself out of that. Okay. And then if you watch this, I'm not going to lie to you, what I hope is that you listen to this and go, oh, this is good. And if you get to the end of this and you go, oh, I want to know more about this, I would love for you to come and speak to me about working with me. But if you don't, if you just take this, this will start having an impact on your life. But my passion is to help people move out of these holes because it can be done so quickly. And a lot of people, which I wasn't really aware of, actually don't think there's help out there for them because we think of therapy and counseling and things like that, and we go, well, we don't need that, and we don't see how coaching can help. So I'm going to give you this, and this is going to get you moving and out of that place of feeling lost. Because like I said, this is really common. Feeling lost, demotivated, confused, drifting, and just feeling like you know what you need to do, but when it comes to doing it, you just can't do it. It feels so overwhelming. It feels so hard. It feels like so much effort. And then you're putting lots of effort in and there's lots of input and no output. You're not seeing any results. And in fact, you're probably just working and scrolling the internet looking for the answer and researching it. And then actually what you're doing is probably feeling more exhausted with no outcome. And this is normal, but it's easily solved. And what I want you to think of this as like the tip of the iceberg. This is what we see. When people come to me, this is the bit above the surface that they go, this is what's going on. And they're really confused. They go, I just don't know why this is happening. Well, this is just under the surface of that iceberg. And we're just going to touch on this really briefly because I want to get to this strategy that's going to help you, but you need to understand this. Everyone that comes to me with these problems is a self-critical perfectionist. They're like the fixer mentality, but they're like control freaks. They don't like giving any control out. I know because this was me. This was me about 7, 8 years ago. And I would be so overwhelmed with work, have loads to do, and someone would go, "Oh, can I help you with that?" No, I need to do that. Helping me with reports. If any of you in the police listen to this, someone offer you to write your MG3, your MG7, or anything, something like that, and I'd be like, complain how much I had to do, but then I never want to give any of it out because I was a perfectionist and I worried about getting stuff wrong, and I worried that they wouldn't do it as good as I could. So this is really common. Self-critical perfectionist who's trying to control everything. And you may be in a time of your life where you suddenly feel out of control. And then in trying to control it all, you feel even worse. And this is why nothing is getting done. This is the reason. So this is like the layer underneath the surface. But then there's another layer. And it's why we do these things. And what I've come to realize is perfectionism is just like a shield. It's a protective mechanism. We think of it as a badge of honor. I used to. I think, yeah, well, I'm a perfectionist. And in some ways it's really good, but in other ways it's really destructive. But all perfectionism is protection from failure. So it's just fear, really. It protects us from failure and it protects us from judgment. So I want to quickly explain to you what's happening is if you've got a fear of failure and you don't like being judged, what happens is when those things happen, you make it mean something about yourself. So say you make a mistake, you do some work, you do it, or you make the wrong decision, or you make a decision and it didn't turn out as you thought. What happens is you make that mean something about you. Start beating yourself up, judging yourself, thinking that you weren't good enough, and all of that. And it's because of that, because you do that, because of your relationship with failure, and because of the fact you do that, you then become a perfectionist. Because you think, well, if I do everything perfectly, then I can't fail, I can't be judged, and I'm going to feel safe. That's what your brain's thinking. So then what happens when we do make a mistake? Because our brain is like, oh, a little bit scared because it actually thinks we're in danger, we get really self-critical. It's like this part of your brain going, no, you're stupid, you're an idiot, what are you doing? And we become really harsh on ourselves because we've decided that we've decided failure is bad. And if we get something wrong, we make it mean it about ourselves. So then our brain gets very self-critical in an attempt to protect ourselves. So we're perfectionist and we're self-critical, bearing in mind this is a standard that we cannot reach. Perfection doesn't exist. And if you've got a perfectionist mindset, even if you do something amazing, it will find the fault. I've got a lovely patio out there, and my brain will always go to the little chip that's on the side. And it goes straight towards it. And this is what perfectionism does. Okay. But when you understand, you don't have to stay being a perfectionist. And it's actually being self critical and being a perfectionist and trying to control things is why we're feeling lost, demotivated, confused, drifting, and just can't be bothered to do anything. Okay. Because of all that. So we're not going to go into that loads because that's a whole topic on its own, but just have some insight. There's nothing, don't beat yourself up for the fact you're a perfectionist. It's fine, but it's something that can be worked on. Don't think because you're older and this is something that you've been like forever, you can change at any moment. I promise you that. Right. So this is what happens a lot. People come to me and they say, I don't know what I want. And they feel really lost. And I think that's what creates that feeling of lost is going, I don't know what I want. Now, this is easy when we sort of delve into it. I think people always know what they want, but I think they often fear going and getting it. But what I like to do is flip it, is go, well, what don't you want? What don't you want? So someone might go, well, like for me, if I go, what don't I want? Well, I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to be immobile. I don't want to be indecisive. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to be stressed. And I don't want to be having high blood pressure and feeling bloody awful all the time like I used to before. So then you go, well, you know what you don't want. And everyone's like, when we say, what don't you want? Everyone knows what they don't want, probably because they're living it right now. And then what you want to do is write a list and say, how could you succeed at getting what you don't want? I'm obviously not going to go out and do it, but it's really interesting when you just write this list. So if I went, okay, well, I don't want to be unhealthy, and all those things I said, I go, if I was going to create a list of how to succeed at getting that thing I don't want, well, I would get up late. I would stay up all night watching box sets. I'd drink alcohol. I wouldn't give a shit about what I ate. I would eat all the shit going. I wouldn't exercise. I wouldn't be out in nature. I'd be scrolling on YouTube. I'd make sure I was a perfectionist and I'd make sure I really beat myself up every time I got something wrong. That'd be great because that'd really kill my motivation and sort of self-esteem. And you've got this list of all this thing to succeed at what you don't want. And then you flip it. Do the opposite. Get up, cut out the booze, start eating healthy, going to bed early, limit how much you scroll on social media, Stop staying up all night watching box sets, going to bed early, get out in nature, exercise regularly. Boom. Suddenly you've got the map to how to get to actually what you do want. Okay, moving your way from what you don't want. So that is just a little thing to get you going, to go, if you keep thinking, I don't know what I want, think about what you don't want, write a list of how to achieve it, and then flip it, and then start creating those habits. It really, really works. But this is the steps I want to take you through if you're feeling really lost, stuck, overwhelmed, like there's loads of things to sort out, loads of problems. Now, I'm part way through writing it because I got part way through the last video and I hadn't hit record. And if I'd been a perfectionist before, that would have killed me. But now I actually sort of look at it, it's quite funny. And then I know this time is going to be better. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to get a little book. If you're a perfectionist, it doesn't have to be the right book. It doesn't have to have all this. It could just be a pad of paper. But just get something and write down all your problems. Get them out of your head. You can't solve it while it's in your head. You need to get them out on paper and just write them all down. Now, we're not going to try and fix them all, which if you're a fixer, control mentality, you're going to want to try and fix them all at once. But it's because of that that you're not doing fuck all. Because what you're doing is you're looking at all these problems and then taking no action. But this is just to get them all out. Then you're going to pick one. I want you to have constraint. Pick one thing that you think is going to have the biggest impact. If you pick one of those problems, which one, if you did that, it might actually solve some of the other problems. But just pick one. And what we're going to do is those other problems stay there and we're going to come back to them, but we're just going to shelve them. Okay, we're going to go, okay, that doesn't need doing right now. And then what I want you to do is I want you to imagine this problem you've picked, I want you to imagine it done, completed, solved. And just spend a bit of time sat there thinking about it. Now, this is really important because what you do is when you imagine it done, you create this feeling inside as if it's done of completion. And just a quick lesson on feelings is we are designed to move away from negative feelings towards positive ones. So when we come to work and do some work and our brain goes, oh, it's going to be really hard. Then our brain goes, well, fuck that. We won't bother doing anything. We'll have a cup of coffee instead. Whereas when we sit down and we imagine it done and completed, we start feeling this relief, this happiness, this sense, this great feeling. And then what happens is our brain wants to move towards that. So you don't want to skip this step. Imagine it done. You're not imagining how you've done it at this stage. You're just imagining this problem solved, done, off the list, and all the benefits you're going to have from that. And then what you're going to do is with this one problem, you're going to make a list. And you're going to use this step to do this. Because when you make a list of all the things you have to do, rather than thinking, what am I going to do? I want you to think, what did I do? It's been proved in psychology that when you think about a problem from the future tense as if it's already completed, so you're looking back going, how did I solve that? The brain works in a very different way. So you've imagined it done, it feels good, and now you're going, how did I solve that? And you may not know all the actions, but you're going to write you're going to write a list of all the things you need to do to get it done. Then, what we're going to do is write down all the obstacles, all the things that are going to go wrong. Now, if you're a perfectionist, this bit will be easy because you will naturally look at all the things that could go wrong. So, but you're going to exhaust that. What is all the things that happened that stopped me getting this done? And this could be physical things like not knowing something. It could be like your internet's down, so you can't look at it on thing. Maybe you don't know how to do something. It may be because you know you'll procrastinate and not get it done. You'll want to do something else. You list all of that. You list it all. And then the other side, you come up with a strategy from this side, from this future, of how you overcome that obstacle. And we want to be considering, which if you're a perfectionist is going to be challenging for you, is the first thing is like, who helped me get over this? You're going to want to do everything yourself, but is the reason you're feeling the way you feel is because you want to keep control, because you're a perfectionist, and there's people out there that could actually do a lot of this for you. So, but we want to look and go, who helped me overcome this obstacle? And um, how did I overcome it? What did I do? What was my strategy that was in place? And then what you're going to have is a list of all the to do. Some of these might cross over strategy, and then not going to expect this thing. Oh, I've got to get it all right. Make sure I'm doing the right thing. Just the key bits, those key bits you need to get done to start. Okay. What I like to do is I like to put it in a calendar really to get you going and to pick, highlight the key thing, and you want to pick one, and start. Doing this, you're going to feel probably pumped. Either you can see the end, you go, oh yeah, this is good. That's the action. We'll go, oh, that's brilliant, I feel great. And what I'll do is I'll do it tomorrow. And done. Then we come in. A lot of people, this is why people write list. List. God, I've got so much to do. And we write a list, we feel better, but we don't implement anything. Back the next day and we write a list of the list. We have two lists, we write a list to compile them. It's bullshit. What we need to do is make this list, have these obstacle strategies. I suggest put them in your calendar, but for now, let's just pick one and get going. Just pick one and get going. And then what you're going to do is just going to make sure I'm not going to miss a step. What you're going to do is you're going to measure progress. Now, this is a really important thing. I'm going to show you on this board. So what you're going to do, this is where you are now. You've picked your thing. You've picked your thing that you've got to do. You've imagined the future where it's done. There you go, it's done. You feel fucking amazing. And now what you're going to do is you're going to start moving forward with these small steps. Keep it really small, make it nice and easy for the brain. The brain, when you start small, you build that momentum. Problem is when it's big, the brain goes, oh, I don't want to do it. And then what we do is we move along with our little legs. Our legs seem to be getting smaller as we're going along. And what we're going to do is this is now, our present, and this is our past. And to keep motivation, we are going to measure backwards. Even if you try something, it doesn't work, you've got more information. We call this the gain, coined by Dan Sullivan, the gap and the gain. This is the gap, that's the gain. You're going to measure your progress, but you want results with time. You want to achieve results. So you want to go, in time, I'm going to achieve this, and you go and do it. And then you sit in that celebration. You watch your perfectionist brain tell you how everything could have been better, done better, but you look at how further forward you are. Now, if you've got information, if you've done something and you think you've gone down the wrong road and you've got information, then you're further forward than you were here because you've got that information and you keep measuring back. Your brain, your perfectionist brain, go here and compare against your future of you should. That is going to kill motivation. And it's bullshit because this reality yet. This doesn't exist. This, how far you've actually come, is reality. But what kills our motivation is measuring ourselves against where we think we should be rather than where we are. There's a great saying that happiness is reality minus expectation. When we just accept reality for what it is instead of thinking it should be different, then suddenly we realize that we become happier because we're causing our pain. But this is what we do. As you go towards your goal, you're going to look, measure back, you're going to sit, measure your progress, and actually measure how far forward you've gone. Then you're going to take your next thing. If you look at something and it feels too big to do, then what you're going to do is you're going to break that down into small steps because you only just don't want to start because the step is too big. Break it down so small that it's easy to do. If you've got to go on and you've got to search something on the internet and you've got to order something or do something and you go, oh, and your brain's got to feel a bit overwhelmed, well, break it down to I can just open the laptop. You can do that, switch it on. Well, I can do that. I'm just going to put the search in. Well, I can do that. And then what you'll do is you'll build that momentum. When the brain's thinking too far in advance and it wants to do it all perfectly, what it does is the brain is predicting this and it wants it all perfect, and then it keeps us here. And it keeps us here. So perfection, self-judgment, all of that is not going to help move you forward. And neither is control. Because this is not going to work out as you thought it would. We work out the how as we go. You're going to go along and think, well, I don't really know what to do here. And then you're going to come up with something to try and you're going to try it and then you're going to overcome it. Things aren't going to go right and you're going to do it. But the how, all we want to know at the start is what we want, why we want it. That's that imagining that future and what it's going to be like. And then what we want to do then is then start taking that action and moving forward. What you'll find is if you take small steps and come out of the all or nothing thinking, perfectionists, everyone I work with goes to all or nothing. If you can come out of that, you will start making small progression and you'll feel so much more motivated. Where's my rubber gone? Lost my rubber. We have to use this. What have we done with that? That's quite amazing. I've literally got a tiny space and I can't find it. Here we go. This is what happens with all or nothing thinking. I wasn't going to go this far into it, but I want to give you this because I think this is going to help. If you imagine life is like this pendulum, okay? Or a massive long testicle, whichever. Let's pretend it's a pendulum though. This is the all, and this is the nothing. And this is where a perfectionist spends their time. They're either right over here going, oh, I'm going to go and do it all and they overcommit and they try and do everything. And they might get stuff done in the short term, but then they go, oh, fucking hell, it's hard work. And then they swing back over here to the nothing. This is where we feel lost. This is where we feel demotivated, like we're drifting. And what we want to do is not go to all or nothing. We want to be, this middle is the way. We don't want to solve all our problems at once. We just want to start small and it builds motivation. All what I've talked to you about, this works. I work with people who come to me and often they're saying, I think I'm depressed. And it turns out they're not depressed. It's just they're self-critical perfectionists who are stuck. They're not moving forward because they're perfectionists. But then as soon as we start breaking it down and taking that small little action and actually celebrating those wins, measuring the progress, dropping that perfectionism, realizing that done is better than perfect, and actually dropping that judgment of ourselves, that inner critic that is trying to protect us because of the belief values we hold around failure and judgment and all of that. Once that happens is we start taking small steps, which sometimes might in themselves seem really like I'm not really making progress. But when you zoom out over the longer period, suddenly you've made much more progress and you feel better. And if you feel better, you want to do more. So you just then get stuff done. And what you'll find is all of the shit that's going on in your head will become quieter. And you'll have a method then of going, here's the next problem. Break it down. Off we go. Break it down. And some things aren't ours to fix. but that is for a whole other topic. But if you try this, you will find you will start getting your energy back. So remember, write all your problems down. Pick one, shelve the rest. Imagine it done. Really key. Make a list of how you, from this place, this future, how you achieved it. Then write down your obstacles. That's the easy bit, all the things that are going to go wrong. Then come up with your strategies to overcome them from this place of completion. Then just pick one of those things and get it done right now. Right, as soon as you've done it, get it done. Doesn't matter if you don't feel like doing it, get it done. And then start measuring your progress. And then all you need to do is take all these actions you got, put them in your calendar, plan ahead, you stick to the plan, you feel the discomfort of doing it, and measure that progress. That's how you stay motivated. Remember, nothing's gone wrong for you. This is just living in the perfectionist mindset. And once you start coming out of that, you'll find life is so much easier, lighter. You'll feel free, you'll feel more in control, and you'll feel calmer. Hope that helps. And if you, like I said at the start, there are opportunities to work with me one on one. If that is something you're interested in, then there'll be a link in the description of this video. Just press it, book a call, and then we can discuss how to move you forward. Or if not, just take this, start applying it, and see what changes you get. Take it steady.